All right, I'll call the meeting to order. All right, are we properly noticed?
The meeting was posted according to law.
Roll call.
President Johnson.
Here.
Trustee Duda.
Here.
Trustee Harding.
Here.
Trustee Moody.
Here.
Trustee Nugent. Here. Trustee Seeger.
Here.
Trustee Wisniewski.
Here. I'm sure you're here for citizen participation behind Ben. Or do you, or before I read this whole paragraph? No? Okay. So I'll start with citizen participation. Then for Village Resolution 2017-01, anyone wishing to address the village board during citizen participation will be allowed 5 minutes. Your subject must specifically relate to matters under the jurisdiction of the village board. Whether on the agenda or not, the village board should not engage in a discussion regarding the comments because it was not part of the publicly noticed agenda. Upon conclusion of the citizen participation segment, members of the audience are not allowed further comment unless they're participating in a public hearing or specifically allowed by a majority vote of the village board due to involvement in an agenda item. Come on up. Just hit the little person icon there. It'll turn green.
Okay, there we go. All right. My name's Dennis Cassian. I'm at 2819 Oakmont Drive in Lake Bluff Subdivision. And on behalf of the majority of Lake Bluff residents, I want to thank the board members who voted in favor of the recommendation by the Plan Commission to deny Belinsky's request to vacate or eliminate the Oakmont Road extension that was recorded and promised to us as residents and to the village back in 2026. My concern now is what leverage does the village have on Belinsky to encourage them to complete this road in a timely fashion? I don't know, and I guess it wasn't. Well, I don't know if they still have a letter and credit on file that you can work against them, or if there's a performance bond. And if there's neither of those, I would suggest that you maybe have you contact the village attorney to see how we can encourage Belinsky to complete their work that they promised us. Several years ago, I can remember when they finished phase 1 and they had to do the final lift. That was probably eight years after they did the first lift and had to replace a whole bunch of concrete curb. And I think one of the things they did with Belinsky to encourage them was to withhold some building permits. And even in one case, I know I had a neighbor who had an occupancy permit withheld from them. And this puts people in the middle of something that they have no control over and no responsibility for. So I just hope the board and the staff encourages Belinsky in some other way to get this work done. Thank you.
Thank you. John, anything? Nope. All right. With that, I'll close citizen participation. Move on to consent agenda. One motion and a second. We'll approve all the following items. Any item may be pulled from the list and voted on separately.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, miscellaneous business. Item 1, consider well 10 design contract and discussion regarding financing. Ben, come on up.
All right, thank you. This is a follow-up to the presentation at the last meeting, so I won't belabor the issue, but the additional information that I provided addresses a couple of follow-up items from questions that were received at the last meeting, one of which is the overall opinion of probable construction costs of $6.93 million. A question was asked of approximately how much of that is associated with the radionuclide removal and treatment. We're estimating about $3 million of that $6.93 million is associated with that. We did hear in the last 2 weeks from the Wisconsin Water Associations, or Wisconsin's chapter of AWWA. They have a regulatory affairs committee, and they've heard from DNR that all PFAS applications this last cycle will get funded. So that means that minimum $1.5 million net whatever offset from the settlement funds is pretty confident that the village will be receiving that at minimum. We also put together in here an overall schedule. It's this kind of multicolored page that you'll see in your packet. And don't want to belabor this, but we do have, these 5 different parallel tracks here that we're trying to balance, if you will. So well 10, since last meeting, we've talked to one well driller just to kind of understand the scheduling. We expect that well 10 could be drilled in the spring next year, and we would hope for water quality information by the end of April. If we begin design on the well facility and treatment building, we could have that go out to bid. We discussed internally we would base bid radionuclides treatment and do a bid alternate to take that scope of the work out. And there is a chance, not a guarantee, but there is a chance that we get the water quality information back right before the village has to award and execute that contract. So things would have to fall into place somewhat perfectly, but there certainly is that chance. If we don't get the water quality results until after kind of the funding restriction requires us to go ahead and award that contract, then we would have to talk about change orders if the water quality came back differently. The yellow track just outlines kind of our expected touch points with the village board. The blue track is the agency submittals for kind of the technical reviews, including PSC construction authorization and DNR technical approvals. And the green line is the funding line there. So this just kind of starts to hopefully provide you some outlay of how we expect things to go. So two requests of the village board tonight is, one, we kind of have our proposal or draft task order for preliminary final design and bidding services for the well treatment facility. As discussed at the last meeting, we would do the full design, including assuming that radionuclide treatment is required. The second ask would be that the board authorize us to move ahead with advertising the bids for construction of the well hole itself to keep that kind of top orange track on pace of getting water quality information back as soon as reasonably possible. What we would like to do is advertise in approximately 2 weeks. Those documents are pretty much ready to go, except we would tweak a couple of milestone dates. Those had to be submitted prior to the June 30th deadline that just lapsed here. So those are all ready. What we would like to do is kind of tweak those and get those advertised to bid, and then bring the bids and recommended award back here. We expect that the well driller would not be able to start any sooner than the first week of January, and we would set up, we would tweak those bid dates or the dates in the bid package accordingly. The reason for that is we need to wait for PSC construction authorization to clear before they can break ground, but that kind of aligns well with kind of the backlog that well drillers have presently anyways. So the intent of going out to bid and bringing an award back relatively soon here is to get in a well driller's queue to try to get them on board right away after the first of the year to start well construction. That's kind of it in a nutshell. If you have any other questions or anything else you would like me to step through, I'd be happy to do so.
Questions for Ben? For the, I guess, well, one, I love a great Gantt chart. This is a very nice chart.
Thank you.
Water, you talked about drilling there. I know when we were doing the test, we had some delays because it was so wet getting out there. So is it going to be a problem getting out there in winter?
I don't believe it will. I think in some ways that's kind of advantageous if they can mobilize on frozen ground.
just going to talk quickly about the financing piece. I didn't expect that Ben would be covering that. Jason and I talked about this last week. Looking at that Gantt chart, it's important to point out to the board that we are going to need to do a short-term borrowing for the water fund. Because the loan doesn't close until after we've done the design and the drilling of the well, so that's going to be over $1 million. When we look at that, that's going to pretty much deplete the water fund. Typically, in a situation like this, we do an advance from another fund, but we must be mindful that we have the Highway 120 multi-use trail, which we have to pay for before we're reimbursed for the TAP grant. And the sewer fund has its own projects going on right now, including advancing funds for the School Street lift station. So I'm going to bring a proposal from Ellers to provide services to assist with that. There's very specific things we have to keep in mind if we do a short-term borrowing. One is delaying principal and interest payments, because then that allows us to be reimbursed from the loan funds that we will be getting. Otherwise, we could jeopardize those loan funds. And because there are specific requirements like that, I really think it's important we have Ellers involved. So before you took action, I just wanted to cover the financial aspect of the project.
Is that a revenue bond or?
Yeah, that's not going to be a general obligation borrowing. It's not even going to be a bond. It would probably be like a short-term borrowing from a bank. Yep, a note.
All right, so we need two motions, one for the contract here, and then one for posting of the awards.
So make a motion to approve the Well 10 design contract. Is it 517,200? Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
All right, questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then to post for, to solicit bids?
I'll make a motion to solicit bids for the Well 10 design contract.
I'll second it. I'm sorry, Scott.
All right, questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Moving along.
All right. Keeping with water and wastewater, consider wastewater facilities design contract.
Yeah, now we're going to switch gears to sanitary utility. We got Leo Cusack here from Applied Tech. He's going to come up and give us kind of an update on where things are and the design proposal we're looking at for the wastewater facilities plan.
Good evening. So you guys have seen me before, and we once we got through the facility plan last year and then got approval from the DNR this year, now we're moving into the next step, which is to actually start to design this. And we've been working together, Jason, Tom, and I have trying to envision sort of the best path forward so that every step of the way as we get into design, you guys are up to speed on where we're heading and how this compares to what we've shown to date. Obviously, we've worked with Brian at Ehlers to figure out kind of what this means from the financing standpoint. But we do want to make sure that we do this in a sort of a phased approach so that you see at kind of key points how things are looking before we just dive in all the way. And so I think the main thing I want to just highlight here is there's two main phases that we're really talking about with this proposal, and only one of them we're asking for approval tonight. What we're looking for tonight is approval for the preliminary design. The preliminary design would get us through about the 30% mark for the work completed. And so I guess what does preliminary design mean? Basically, we take a facility plan, which is sort of the 10,000-foot view of here's what we're looking at in general, here's the types of technologies, here's some of the major decisions. But then when it comes to, all right, what are some of the key equipment selections, specific ones that work best for Tom and his team, that work best with the existing infrastructure, existing buildings, and we get into a more detailed approach so that the costs are more and more refined every step of the way. we expect that if we're given approval to get started on that yet this summer, we would be coming back to you guys. It could be as sometime this winter. I think I gave a little bit of breathing room in there, but it'd probably be sometime in the first quarter of 2027, where we'd come back and say, okay, the total project cost that we'd anticipated, and again, this is just at the wastewater treatment plant site. So this is the treatment plant upgrade itself, as well as the lift station that actually pumps the water into the treatment plant. And so we'd be able to come back and say, we've worked with Tom and his team, we've worked with Jason to make sure that this is still aligning with what staff would like to see. And then we bring that back to you to have an updated cost estimate, any changes at all from the facility plan that we think are recommended. And then before we go into any kind of final design, to make sure that it's still a go from the board. Jason, anything else?
And just at that point as well, we can look at it from the rates perspective as well, just to make sure we're kind of on track with what we initially had talked about.
Right.
Any other questions on that?
So is the total, are we looking at was it 358?
Yeah, for the preliminary design, that's all we're asking for approval tonight.
And then like when Leo said, we'll come back at the 30% mark, review things with you, and then we'll probably ask you to approve the remainder at that point.
And that is, sorry, when approximately, date-wise?
We would think we'd come back here sometime, I'm guessing first quarter of 2027.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve awarding to APT the preliminary design for $358,000.
Second.
All right, questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are you guys done? Anything else you want from us? I think you guys will be busy for a while.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, item 3, consider awarding bid for municipal building roof replacement. Jason?
At least this one somebody else will pay for. So we had a bid opening for the roofing replacement on this building. It's a membrane replacement project. Thanks, guys. And the apparent low bidder is Custiform out of Mauston, Wisconsin. I did check out some references on previous projects. They've done a lot of municipal work, especially with schools. And everybody that I've talked to says they're a great company to work with. So I'm recommending moving forward with them for the 146,630. I did run this by our insurance company. They are willing to pay the 146,630 as well as the $7,500 for the roofing assessment. And the contractor says that they will have this done sometime in October.
Do we need to include the roofing assessment, or did we pay for that already? Make a motion.
You already approved it. So we'd be looking for an approval of the 146,630. An award to Custiform.
I mean, I appreciate you checking on the references. I mean, they're under by almost $30,000, well, $20,000 by the next one, and we got people as high as $225,000. I mean,
Yeah, so I was really surprised with the amount of interest we had in this project, and what I'm told is a lot of these roofing companies are doing schoolwork right now that they need to have done by, Labor Day for school to get back into session. So then they're looking for some work in fall, which is why we had so much interest. So
I'll make a motion to award the project to Custofoam in the amount of 146,630.
Second.
is that you were going to jump in, or did you have a question? No, I was going to. Oh, okay. All right. You be faster on the trigger next time. All right, questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, consider awarding bid for Highway 120 multi-use path Phase 2. Jason?
Okay, so we did just have the bid opening for this one as well, late last week before. And as you can see by the letter of recommendation from Kapoor, Cornerstone Pavers out of Racine was the apparent low bidder. And just to remind everybody what this is the 10-foot wide asphalt trail. We did phase one, which was from the Highway G bridge to Brookstone subdivision. And then this will continue west along Highway 120, cross at O'Leary Lane with some crossing flashers, and then continue south on the east side of 120 to Honey Creek Road, crossing at the stop sign there to the south side, and then continuing east to the first driveway for Honey Creek Plaza. I would ask if you do want to move forward with this project that you do it contingent upon my review of references, because the bid opening was the day that I left for vacation, so I didn't have the opportunity to talk to anybody. I left some voicemails, but I haven't heard back from anybody. I know Kapoor has worked with Cornerstone and they're recommending it, so I don't think we're going to have any issues, but I would still like to talk to some references myself. Just a reminder, this is a TAP grant project, 80-20 split. As you can see, the pricing came again under anticipated amount, which is good. And we have a completion date of, I believe it's November 1 this year.
Do we still use the sheets we had in the past? I can't remember what it was called. What was it? Basically,
So the bidder's proof of
check.
responsibility, yes. And they did provide that document back to us. I did review that, and that all looks good. Just the only thing is I haven't talked to any references, so I just want to make sure we're good. But according to that document on paper, they do look to be able to handle the project.
Make a motion to award the bid for the Phase 2 of Honey Creek Multi-Use Trail to Cornerstone Pavers for $558,375.89, contingent upon Jason's review of their past records.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, consider John's Disposal Service, Inc., 2027 rates and 5-year contract extension. Eileen?
So in by the beginning of August each year, we get our new rates from John's, and as you can see, it's limited by a CPI index. This year, it would be a 4% increase. They're allowed a little, slightly more, but they're saying a 4% increase. But they're also offering us the option, since this would be, 2027 would be the last of our 5-year contract, that if we enter into a 5-year extension, they would lower that increase to 2%. And that's the per unit calculation is $9.12 versus $4.56 a year. So not a huge difference, but it is a cost savings. I did talk to staff just to see if there have been any concerns they've been feeling about John's. And the primary thing that everybody has said is, sometimes there's a missed pickup, but they always address it promptly. We never have somebody come back and say that they didn't, resolve the issue to their satisfaction. So I'd recommend entering a 5-year extension as long as the board doesn't have concerns. I'd bring the actual contract for the extension for your approval when I get that from them, but I have to give them direction which way the board's inclined to go with this.
Do we have to approve the 2027 rates separately, or is that part of the 5-year extension?
So the rate's different for 2027 if we do the 5-year extension. It's going to be the lower rate. So I guess what I would like from the board is whether you'd be inclined to enter into another 5-year extension, and I'd bring the actual formal contract. I'd put it on a consent agenda if that's the way we want to go. I just am not sure if the board has had any concerns with the service that we're not aware of.
Yeah, I don't have any concerns. I think the 5-year is good. Good service, good customer service, so.
Yeah, I think take advantage of the discount.
I'll make a motion to approve the 5-year contract extension with John's Disposal Service.
Second it.
All right, questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And if you could convey our thanks for negotiating with us to keep these rates down for our taxpayers. All right, on to ordinances and resolutions. Resolution 2026-12, authorizing an exception to the levy limits for charges for the East Troy Area Emergency Services District pursuant to the 2005 Wisconsin Act 484. Eileen, do you want to talk us through your memo?
Sure. So when we do our levy limit worksheet, we are allowed certain adjustments that allow us to increase the levy. And one of them is for the increase in costs for our fire district, which also does include the emergency medical services. It's allowed to be taken if the total amount the fire district is charging municipalities doesn't change greater than one of the CPI indexes plus 2%. So they have to meet that threshold. And then each governing body served by the Joint Fire District also has to pass this resolution to allow anyone to take that adjustment. So if we approve this tonight and the other participating municipalities do not, we cannot take the adjustment. Approving this does not require any municipality to take the adjustment. So we wouldn't have to take it, and it's something that we could bring to the board when we have the budget put together and we know those numbers, what that adjustment looks like and what that impact is. I don't feel it's going to be a real large impact, but, depending on what that fire district budget is finalized at.
So I had a previous conversation with the chairman of the town of East Troy about this, and sent him and the chairman for the town of Spring Prairie an email over the weekend saying that we were doing this and asking them to put it on their August agendas, and I haven't heard back yet. So we've tried to do this in the past to not a lot of success, so we'll see what we can do here. Prior boards in the other municipalities were not inclined to pass this, even though it did not commit them to anything. So again, if we pass this resolution, then it just gives us an option. We're not required to take it, and but all municipalities in the district must pass it in order to use it.
Motion to approve Resolution 2026-12.
I second that motion.
Questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 1, Fire Chief's July 2026 report. Scott, anything here you want to highlight?
No, I don't think so. Any questions for me?
All right. Item 2, June financial reports as of 6/30, 2026. Fund summary, variance report, and airport revenue expense compared to budget. If the weather was better with the fires, we probably could have sold more fuel. All right, item 3, capital budget versus spent as of July 30th. And this is something I've been asking for, which I'm excited about, is another chart that I like, a Power BI dashboard.
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Yeah, Ashley's been learning it pretty quickly. One thing I did want to note is I had noticed that the fire ladder truck does not show the payment. We have made that payment, so I'll work with Ashley on getting that updated. I suspect it's a conversion from a prior spreadsheet to the new one she's using. So we're still tweaking it, but that'll be updated next time you see this.
Very nice. All right. Airport second quarter 2026 report. Doug? And before you get started, thank you for all your work in here. Well, thank you to him, too.
Hello, everybody. Just hit some highlights here, like I said, in the report here. this time of year is just the grass mowing constant. Unfortunately, it comes every year, but we've had some drier spells here, so it did cut back, but now things are starting to pick up again, but makes it look that much nicer for the fly-in and all the events, so we've been trying to keep it up to a nicer standard at that point. Also, with Doug Nielsen leaving, we have 2 candidates out there, which we'll be talking about at our next board meeting. And we'll be giving you an update on that also. So we have some interest in it, which is kind of nice. Like I said, everybody's very excited about getting somebody back out there again. And after having Doug Nielsen, it's been he kind of set the standard nice and high. So it's good to keep that going. Same thing with
Doug, I just want to comment. So one is flight school and one is
one is the
mechanic.
flight school and the other one is a mechanic. Yes. Yep. So and then we are going to be discussing that this coming Monday. So. And we'll keep you updated as far as what's going to happen at that point. So, same thing too with the fuel, with the war going on overseas, which we all know it affects the fuel pricing, and it's been a challenge with us selling fuel, keeping the price down, keeping the not too much in a tank, or if we get a good price to keep some extra in there. So you're playing the game constantly. So it's between Jason and I, we've been doing very well. We haven't gotten pinch too hard where you buy it high and try to sell it low, but it's been going very well so far, so as well as can be expected. We've had the fire inspections. They kind of came to a stagnant spot. We got about 9 more to do, so I'm going to be working with Danette. I got to talk to her about. We have to get some letters out to some more hangar owners to kind of put a little fire underneath them, because seem to be people that don't want to respond. So the end of it is usually the hard part, but we'll keep on it. Be very diligent with it. So. Spectrum cable's been coming through there, which I know Eileen has been talking about updating our internet out there, so that would be a great improvement also. And I think there's been some interest with the hangar owners out there too. So that was always, for a few of them, they've been waiting for this. So I think it's going to go once everybody starts hooking up and proceeding with it. So hopefully it keeps going. So. And there's with the new tenant coming in, so we're also going to be. I've been starting some painting on the inside of the FBO, and I'd like to get that finished up before the new tenant comes in. But I've been working with Jason. We have some of the product there. We just a matter of getting it up there with after Doug leaves and finish painting on the inside and some touch-up work with some concrete work. So same thing with the T hangers too. We're with the fire inspection. We've had some. Stuff that was brought to our attention, which like the exit lights, it's amazing that it hasn't been caught years past, but there was something that was caught this year. So we put exit lights in there. That's all taken care of. And changing the doors, the service doors on the side there. Right now there's a lock on the outside, which obviously a fire inspector, like I said, that should have been something we probably should have caught earlier. But anyhow, we have the doors, and it's going to be changed out here very soon. So, and they are currently all rented, I believe, Danette? Yep. So we're doing very well there. And then last winter, Jason and I we talked about building a door out of corrugated steel to try to get rid of the plywood. I did install that this year, and I think it was before my last quarterly report. Anyhow, it's been installed. It seems to be working fine. We're going to probably talk about possibly moving forward with some more if it budget allows and so forth. So. One of those things we're just gonna keep working on. With the farmer had recently taken the weed off the fields out there, so it gave me an opportunity to clear off the outer fence lines, which I've been trying to do every year with our batwing mower. And if there's some trees that have fallen, it gives me opportunity to get out there. Usually, if it's a crop that doesn't come off until late in the year, we sometimes lose out on that. So it's been kind of nice having it taken off early so we can get out there. And then, like I said, cleaning up the fence lines, any trees that are down, fence posts that need repair, we'd be able to get out there and take care of that. So, fuel farm, like I talked about, the fuel sales, surprisingly, like I said, we've been selling quite a bit of fuel, everything considered, that last quarter compared to last year. We've had some large increases, and I even noticed that this spring too, that there was, with the prices going up, there's been quite a few planes flying. I don't understand why, but unless everybody had extra money, I don't know what the problem was, but we don't want to ask why. We just want to keep selling fuel. So But with that said, too, in my next report, I'll have a report on the fuel sales for the fly-in. And with the smoke week problem we had, we actually did very well the second half of it. So it was a nice recovery from that. So that said, any questions?
Questions or comments for Doug?
Could you remind me when the fly-in is again?
Last week.
It was
That
last.
was Oshkosh, EAA.
Yeah.
Oh, that fly-in.
That fly-in, yes.
Oh,
And
never
that was-
mind.
That was last July
Okay.
20th, I think it was, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there is no longer a fly-in at East Troy Airport.
That's what I was thinking, but wasn't.
I just want to thank you, one, on the detail of your report, but just, you're just taking care of, and they seem like little things, but it's like all these little things add up, right? There's always something happening. We're not letting it get behind. So I just want to thank you for that.
That's what I've noticed. I mean, again, just taking care of this, doing the maintenance on like the fuel farm, on the fences. It's not overwhelming where it's a pile of workload that's this high. It's manageable at this point. And Jason has been calling me into the DPW to help out on some stuff, and I've been happy to do it. And working down here, we're going to be spending some time in here. And that allows me to do that because things are being caught up out there. Obviously, there's ongoing stuff and there's stuff to do out there, but it gives me a little more freedom to do that, so.
I would just add that Doug is doing all that juggling with very little help from me. He's not coming to me for anything because he's got it all under control.
All right, if nothing else for Doug, thank you very much. All right, committee reports. Emergency Services meeting minutes from June 18th. Any questions there?
The minutes reflect the July 16th meeting.
Oh, yes. Okay. Any questions on the minutes presented?
I do have a comment to make about it.
Please, go ahead.
There's some discussion about different municipalities joining in the emergency services. We have that in the hands of the attorney to take a look at their proposals. And there's also discussion with the town of Troy about increasing the rates because they've been getting a pretty easy dollar amount as of late. So we're going to try and change that a little bit. But again, that's all in the hands of the attorney to review it before we'll actually make any decisions on it.
Any other questions or comments on that? All right, Airport Advisory Committee minutes from June 8th. Anything else that we didn't cover with Doug's report?
No, he covered everything, so we're good.
All right, 3, Community Development Authority minutes from May 6th. Any questions for me? We're pretty much wrapped up. We're deployed with our new website. I think you sent that out to the board, right? So thanks for many of you helped on that. All right, if no questions there, then I will move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned. Wow, that was easy.